Welcome everyone to episode 4 of Dogaholics. We are obviously not in our studio, but we thought it would be very important that we still give all of you Dogaholics out there definition of a dogaholic. You own a dog and you love dogs. So, because I'm driving, we are hands-free. Kari's going to be heading this one up. So, Kari, what do you got for us today?
I just want to say right off the bat, people can be a dogaholic but not own a dog. Like, there's a lot of people that love dogs but they can't own dogs, but they can still be dogaholics. They can still tune in and tune along and do all this for fun facts.
Yep. I agree.
It's for everybody. We're inclusive of all dog lovers.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Now that is underway.
Brought to you by AAA Dog Training.
Brought to you by AAA Dog Training.
Yes, where you can find and take care of all your dog care needs, as well as you can check us out on our website at AAAdogtraining.com.
I'm gonna caveat that too. It's not all your dog care needs. We're not veterinarians, but Chris can train dogs. Yeah, dog training. All your dog training needs. All right. So today is going to be just fun. It's not going to be a long podcast, but it is going to be a fun podcast because I am at the wheel instead of, well, he's at the wheel, the actual wheel, but I'm at the steering the podcast wheel, and I'm the fun one, and he's the serious of all,
tripping
what?
over them.
How'd you know that?
Because I'm a dog trainer, and a majority of people say that they get tired of their dog walking between their feet, in front of their feet, wrapping the leash around their feet, and they don't want to fall.
True. So, of course, this is funny because I'm sitting here thinking like it's gonna take him a second, but I should have known. So what's the number one way people are injured around their dogs?
When the dog tries to jump up and hit you in the groin. That's the one I fear the most.
Biting.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, biting is the number one. And the number two way we are injured by our dogs is tripping over them, like you said. So there are a couple things I wanted to highlight here. I will never forget when I first met Chris. Like, there were stories of a couple people that we knew that in the, like, Rottweilers, when you own a Rottweiler and the Rottweiler's excited, like, the dog running at you full bore is not a super good idea because their ability to stop sometimes is not all that great. So the idea of your dog taking your knees out from under you, real big thing. And so
yeah, my sister used to have a Rottweiler that would run up to her boys when they were really young, and she would cringe every time because he'd run full bore, but right at the last second he would just stop maybe a foot away from him and then just lean into him. It was really funny, but he never crushed him, although I think there was one day one of them got laid out. I can't remember. They didn't get hurt, but it made you cringe when you saw it.
And I remember the story of one particular client who was literally taken out by their dog running full bore and ended up having to have knee surgery because the dog didn't stop and ran them through. Yeah, not a good thing, but
So,
that's fixable.
Well, dogs didn't go to school to learn physics.
You got this thing that loves you, like just running, gunning for you, happy as heck, running through a field or whatever, and all of a sudden it just like lays you out. You're end over end, right? It just aiming straight for those knees. Dogs. All right. You didn't know we were going to go here, but eventually you had to know that we're going to end up going here. What topic are we going to talk about next?
Next?
Yeah, when I say eventually we're going to end up going here. Poop. It's a poop conversation, my friends.
Oh.
So
It's a poopy situation.
It's poopy.
Poopy from Ted Lasso.
For all
Poopy.
the Ted Lasso fans out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently dogs poop facing the north-south magnetic axis.
So do I.
And scientists don't know why.
Me neither. Habit, I guess.
So you spin and make sure you're facing the appropriate axis before you use the bathroom. That's what this is literally saying.
Yeah.
So you know how dogs, like, they go out and you're waiting for them, like, especially, okay, so in Idaho it's cold and snowy, and sometimes you're putting your dog out and you're like, okay, do your business, you gotta come back inside, it's cold, I don't want to wait for you anymore. And this sucker is spinning and spinning and sniffing, and you can't, like, find the perfect spot. Nope. And you're waiting. It's because they're having to get aligned. North-south axis. It's a poopy situation.
Yeah. So I've heard of that before, and it never stuck in my mind enough to pay attention to it, because when it comes to survival instincts in an animal, for example, antelope, when they go to a watering hole and there's a bunch of them, they'll have a lookout, because when they put their head down to drink water, they're susceptible to attack, and so then they switch off. So in my mind, it always seemed like animals spun because in a way they were also taken in their environment at all angles, because when they go to poop, they're leaving themselves susceptible to attack. So it'll be really interesting. I'm going to start paying attention to see if they're
have to
actually
be
facing north.
aligned in a north-south
falls downhill.
It
And
rolls,
so if they're rolls downhill, so if they're, maybe that's how it works for them. It's just falling out downhill.
I don't
to the
know. Okay,
south.
this has gone too far, I think, maybe.
You brought it up again.
I'm always complaining about talking about these things, right? Like, ultimately, so, yeah, teen boys in the house for the last several years, and
Yep.
so it's just all guys all the time. Of course, I own a female dog. Shout out to female dog owners, because I need some girls in the house. So we have a girl cat and a girl dog, and then it's all imbalanced. Three male humans and 2 male dogs. It's all imbalanced in the house. Too many guys. So, but invariably, I'm complaining about the poop or flatulence conversations, and I'm bringing the heat. The last couple podcasts on talking about my dog and her poopy situations. Anyways, what?
Nothing. I was just like,
He's
you're
like, okay,
complaining about poop.
all right, so talking about it,
And
let's
then-
look at what time it is. Let's move on. Okay, so
All
our
right.
next segment
Is
on Dogaholics, brought to you by
Oh,
AAA
yeah.
Dog Training, is dog stories, funny or otherwise.
okay.
So they can be anything you think of, and I can think of lots. We've been married 20 years now, almost.
Yeah.
Lots of dog stories. Okay.
Yeah, so not to go back to this subject, but here's a funny. So when I grew up, we had a Brittany Spaniel that we came back from mountains or something like that. And we had one of those old metal Coleman coolers. And Dad tied Zach, the Brittany, to it. And so Zach went to jump out of the back of the truck after we parked in the garage. Well, this cooler came following him, and he thought, of course, it was chasing him. So
Yeah.
he takes off, and he's like screaming, barking, "Ah!" kind of thing, going down the concrete breezeway with this thing chasing him, and he was dropping little poop bombs the whole time he was running. And because I was young, I thought that was absolutely hilarious. It probably took, I don't know how many years off of his life of
Yeah,
stress.
because he
but
was sure that
cooler was going to kill
was
him.
chasing him, ready
Yep.
to kill him. That cooler was proving every fear that dog ever had.
Yep. 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 And
That's really funny.
then you want to go with the funny, and then I'll go with the funny.
So I was thinking about the time that we were sitting in the living room watching. I wasn't. Okay, so let me rephrase. I wasn't sitting in the living room on purpose to watch a hunting show. Christopher had
bear
on
hunting.
a bear hunting show,
Yep.
and they were whispering, right? And it was really intense.
They're in a tree stand.
Because it was, I think, archery hunting bear,
Yeah,
wasn't
in
it?
a
This
tree
was a
stand.
long time ago. And the Rottweiler that I talk about a lot, her name was Dasha, and she's in the room, and we weren't paying attention to her. I'm pretty sure I was reading or something, because I don't like whispering, and I don't particularly like watching hunting, but it's a thing. And so we're sitting there in the living room, and all of a sudden,
So
go ahead.
the archer goes and shoots the bear, and so when the arrow hit the bear,
Dasha saw it on the TV right in front of her, and all of a sudden, this 97-pound dog launches
after the bear.
straight after the bear into the TV, like knocked it off the back of what it was sitting on.
It was one of those big 32-inch tube TVs with the glass.
Like the bubble
base.
glass in the front, right? This heavy sucker.
She knocked it back about 3 inches.
Oh, I thought she knocked it off the back of it. Anyways,
Uh-huh.
miraculously, of course, we're like, "Wah!" We had no idea that she was intensely watching because we weren't paying attention.
and slimy. And so Kari's laughing, and I can't move.
And this is what I
The
did.
kids are laughing.
I gotta tell you what I did. So he's laying in the chair between me and my chair and the boys on the couch. So he's in the middle of the whole thing. And he is like, so for anyone who doesn't know Chris personally, which is everyone, he is a germaphobe. This dude, aside from like loving dogs, he does not love germs. He doesn't share food. Chris is Joey from Friends. Chris does not share food, but it's
Nope.
because of germs. And so, anyways, so here he's laying. This dog is on his chest. This dog he's trying to bond with and love, and it's just puked. This huge, just all its food right on Chris's chest. And he's like, I need help. I need you to help me. And what did I do? I pulled out, gosh darn it, you know it. I went like this, and I pulled out my phone, and I started taking pictures because I needed evidence and proof before I was going to help him clean that up.
It was pretty awful.
That's the kind of wife
So,
I am. That's
and then-
what Chris can count on.
And I'm like, go get towels or something to help me clean this up. In the meanwhile, Chipper starts eating his food
That's
again.
disgusting.
And then, that's what
Yep.
she said. And
That's
finally I was like, you know what? It'll be way easier if we just let him
Oh.
clean it up himself. And he didn't clean all of it,
It
of
still makes
course.
me want to throw up just to talk about that.
But it was really gross.
Yeah, could not have covered that part and been just fine.
It was
but
gross.
It was gross.
It was
and
still
it was
part of it.
also simultaneously hilarious because it happened to Christopher.
No.
Because he really doesn't have a lot of like the baby puke stories and
No.
all the gross stories from raising small children. So that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Except for one time when I had to change one of the boys, and it was so bad, I just put them straight into the bathtub with their clothes on because it was so. Anyways, all right.
He pulled the full dad. I'm gone, and there's blowout situations, and he takes the kid in the bath and just uses the shower. Just
Yeah.
showers him like true dad fashion.
Yep.
Not messing with that, not touching that. I'm just hosing you down.
Yep.
Glorious situation.
Nope.
Okay, so I have a funny about Clarkson. We've talked about Clarkson on other podcasts. He is our bear dog. He's a plot hound.
Black-mouthed cur mix.
Yeah, and so he's big and long-legged and kind of like Scooby-Doo-ish, bright yellow eyes. He's a little creepy, but like just doofy, fun dog. We love him. And anyways, I had just taken him on my favorite trail in Montana with the boys. Just the boys and I went on this trail this one time and hiking with Clarkson. And he was still pretty young. And of course, he's all jazzed because he gets super excited on trails. He loves to see, like, he gets real intense with other animals and stuff. That's his breed. That's what bear breeds do. So we hiked probably, I don't know, 2-3 miles. Get back in the car. I'm like, does everybody want ice cream? Yeah, we are going to go and get ice cream. So we go into town and we get Clarkson a dog ice cream. And this is the most hilarious thing I've seen. So I'm holding this dog ice cream out to him, and it's just like this cup, with ice cream sticking up. And he's unsure because he's never been given people food. We're not big people food givers to our dogs. And so he's like, I don't know. And so I put it up to his mouth, and he like takes this little lick of it. And then all of a sudden it was like Scooby-Doo, like his eyes got wide. And he is all of a sudden like trying to lick it, but then he realizes it's cold. So he's licking it and also trying to keep his lips from touching the ice cream at the same time. So he's like pulling, that's an awful face, but seriously, imagine the dog like pulling his lips as far away from this ice cream he wants to eat as possible while he's licking it, and also still like, I don't know, this is amazing. And so he goes through this process of just eating until finally he's like, oh, chomp. And then you can tell that like that hits him. And so he's like, oh my gosh, hilarious.
Yeah, he's a dork.
Hilarious.
He's a dork.
Needless to say, he loves
special dog to me. I ended up getting him when he was about 6 months old. He was different than any lab that I had ever seen, because I always saw ones that needed training. And it was the first time I saw an actual properly bred lab. So I went and tested him and got him. But anyways, he was one of these dogs that was so unbelievably guidable, super easygoing. Everything about him was easy. Everything. He was just special. And so...
Yeah. And he grew up with our boys.
Yeah.
We got him about the same time that our...
We had Andrew.
Andrew was just about the same age as Gabe. He was a little older, I think, than Gabe. But
out of all the time that I spent with Gabe, what I enjoy the most when it comes to watching dogs is watching what they are bred to do, the instinctual aspect of it. Because it has nothing to do with training. It has everything to do with watching the dog do what it was designed to do. So one was an unbelievably scary moment. Give me one sec while there we go. So one was an incredibly scary moment. We were in Wyoming and we were pheasant hunting, and we were out on this private property that was open to the public for hunting. And so we're going along, and he dropped down into this ditch, and then I didn't see him come out of it, and I'm like, what in the world? So, I called him, and I heard a thump, and I was like, what? And so I called again, and he didn't come, which is completely abnormal. I walk over to the ditch, and I look down, and he is in a trap. There was a trap that was set however long ago by Fish and Game that they left.
Yeah, it was way back. They weren't supposed to exist anymore. These traps, they were long. It was a long, old trap.
It was a wire trap that is designed that when the head goes through it cinches, and you're not supposed to be able to pull it apart. So I didn't have any cutters on me. I'd never experienced anything like that before. I didn't have any cutters on me. My nephew Jacob is with me, and he's like, I have a knife, and I said, it's not going to cut this wire. And every time when Gabe was trying to come to me, jumping up the hill, it kept tightening more and more. And when I got to him, he was completely and totally calm. And I'm trying to pull this apart, and I could see his tongue starting to turn purple. His eyes started to bulge just that little bit, and he was at complete peace because I was there with him, and he just was that type of dog. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like starting to panic because I didn't want to lose my dog. And I'm in the process of trying to pull this thing apart, and I said a quick prayer, and I'm like, Lord, if there is any way to make this work. And the minute I prayed that, it slipped a 1/4 inch. And then I gave it another big pull, and it slipped a 1/4 inch. And then I was able to work it enough to give him the air, and then we were able to work it enough to really pull it barely enough over his head.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and cried.
Yeah.
It was, one, I was so thankful that he didn't die.
Yeah.
Two, I was so amazed by how good he was in this situation, and how he was actually peace for me in that situation. And I looked at Jacob, and he's crying because I'm crying, and I just looked at him, I was like, we're done for the day. And we went, and man, we had like celebration candy bar or ice cream or something on the way back.
Yeah.
But that was one of those, I'll never forget that. And it isn't because I almost lost my dog. It is, but it isn't. It was because there was 0 ounce of panic in him.
Yeah.
He was in the process of suffocating, and he never showed it, other than the signs of his discoloring, and I'll just never forget that. And then
Yeah. And then he came home and
didn't know was illegal, but I thought, well, you leaving it there and not letting anybody know should be illegal. But anyways, brought it back, showed it to a buddy of mine who lived next door to us, who had a friend that was a trapper for Fish and Game, and sure enough, it had one of their tags on it, their number, and they were able to find the logbook and see who it was that left the trap there. But the trapper said there's no way he pulled that apart. These are designed to be cut. They're not designed to be able to be pulled apart and stuff. So that even made it even more like, oh my gosh. But
Special.
yeah, so, and then the second moment,
Gabe story.
another Gabe story that I'll never forget, is, so he was a dog that I had pheasant hunted with him and did a lot of duck hunting with, and I never lost a bird under him. So every bird that I shot, he had such good drive, retrieval drive, that he just stuck with it, and I never lost a bird. And he was getting up in age. He was about 9.5, and we were hunting ducks, and so I ended up shooting this greenhead, but I winged it, and he wouldn't quit looking for it. And finally I'm to the point where I'm like, it's not a very big area, there's no way that he's gonna find this bird. It probably flew off somewhere else that we didn't see. I went to call him up out of the water, and as he was jumping out of the water onto the bank, in midair he whipped around, shot under the bank, and this greenhead flew out of it, and tried to get away from him, and he was able to go and get it, but he smelled or heard that duck under there, and sorry, I have a tear going. He smelled it, anyways, got under there, and but when he was coming up out, I could see he was really physically struggling with coming up the bank onto where we were going to walk, the road where we were going to walk back to the truck. And at that moment, I realized it was his last time, and it was his last bird. And we had about a quarter mile walk back to the truck, and I never took that duck from him, and he carried it walking next to me all the way back to the truck. And of course the duck, it's not showing pain or anything, but the duck's head is up and just like going along for the ride, and it was so special. And we got back to the truck, and I sat there and loved on him while he, good grief. Well, I just loved on him while he held it, and knowing that was my last trip out with him, and to have it in that way with his best retrieve I've ever seen was just really special. And he ended up living 4 years after that, and he was just retired and grew old on the couch.
Yeah, he was a big couch potato.
Oh my gosh.
He loved to get on the couch and cuddle the boys.
He was allowed to break every rule. He got old enough to I'd give him a command, and he would be like, look at me like, huh?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, no, you're fine, you don't have to do it. He had such old man privileges. It was crazy. But anyways, those are two very special moments for me, and ones that I'll never forget, obviously.
Yeah. And we got 13 years from Gabe.
Yep.
Yeah, he lived to be 13-year-old old man, loving life on the couch, cuddling kids. We've got endless pictures of our boys and our daughter, who's oldest, just cuddling Gabe. Like he was such a special part of our family, and actually our favorite family photo has Gabe in it.
And he is so photogenic. Oh my gosh, he's so
dog.
photogenic.
Yeah, gorgeous dog.
Yeah. There'll be a day I post a painting up that artist did for us.
Out of Wyoming. Her name's Maggie.
Maggie, and she lives out of Wyoming. If anybody ever wants a painting done,
Of an animal?
of their animal, whether it's horses or dogs or cats or whatever. She is absolutely incredible and very affordable for the work quality of work. She's been featured in quite a bit of different places, and so anyways, I'll make sure to put that contact
we'll put her contact info
in the description below.
Yeah, in the description below this video, so that you can look into it. Probably put a picture up, maybe if we can, of that picture we had drawn of Gabe.
Painted. It's unbelievable. It's crazy.
Yes,
good.
It's great.
Yep. All right, so I'm done with that one.
That's not even the story I thought you were going to tell.
What story did you think of?
I thought you were going to tell the story about when Gabe mistook the hunter.
Oh my gosh, that one was hilarious. So, yeah, Gabe lived to be 13 and a half, and he never barked, ever. Never heard him bark. And we were
quiet.
We were up at Mount Rainier, and we were doing some grouse hunting. And all of a sudden, I see him just take off, and he's just, like he is going to kill whatever it is he's running at.
Like intense.
Yeah. And so it was bear season up there, archery bear season. There was a guy that saw flashes of blonde through the trees and the bushes and thought maybe Gabe was a blonde bear. Or a bear in blonde phase. And the minute Gabe started going out at him, that guy stood up and went, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah, he had full camo on.
Yeah,
right?
And the minute Gabe saw that it was a person, instantly he quit barking and started wagging his tail and walked up to the guy. The guy looked at me and he goes, I thought your dog was gonna kill me. And I looked at him and I was like, I didn't know what he was going after, but he was going after to kill it.
Yeah, so, it was like he didn't know what to make of the guy. He didn't know it was a guy, and the guy was stalking him. And he was stalking Gabe, and so Gabe was like, "Oh, you're not stalking me."
that was funny. Talking about poop. That guy probably pooped his pants.
That guy probably needed to change his pants afterwards.
Yeah.
It was a movie situation.
Oh, he was such a good dog.
He was such a good dog. I have another cool story with my girl. I'm not my current girl, but Dasha. We don't have her anymore either. She lived to be 9 years old, and she was my one of two you get. I think the current dog is my second, maybe. But anyways, she, the one of two, just special, has your whole heart dogs. So back in like 2005, 2006, somewhere in there was this book that I had studied through with a group of ladies. It was called Captivating. And this book talked about having whale moments, like looking for moments in your life where you just know that God's like, I see you. I know what's special to you. Like, I see you. This is just for you. And so I routinely ran with my dog in this park, like I've talked about in other episodes. I trained to be a half marathoner at that point. She was active show ring. And so I'm running with the dog and regularly. And this park is just gorgeous to start with. I mean, it's Pacific Northwest, like beautiful all seasons. But I had this idea attuned in my head to just be aware, right? And that stayed with me. Like, be aware for your whale moments. Be aware for moments in your life that are personally meaningful, touching to you. So I'm running in this park thinking it's just another day, right? And I can see this just vividly in my brain today, just as vividly as back then. We come around the corner and we're getting right by the river, the long stretch next to the river. The backside was a bunch of hills, front side all along the river. And I look down and there's nothing but backs of salmon sticking up like halfway. The water is low enough that I can see about this much.
During the salmon run.
Every back of salmon that's going up that river. And I don't know, that was just like this golden moment in my brain with my dog. Like, perfect. I'm doing this thing I love, running with my dog I love so much, and here's this moment that's just stuck in my brain like magic, right? Of seeing all these red salmon and spawn going up the river that I loved to run along. So anyhow, that's wasn't necessarily associated with her, except for the fact that she was there. She's burned in my memory as that's an amazing moment in my life with my dog. So now that we've shared stories, fun stories, good stories, heart-wrenching stories. I wasn't sure where this was going to go today. When we talked about sharing stories, talking about stories.
The thing is we all love dogs, obviously, and if you're watching this, you love dogs. And sometimes it's really good to just sit around and reminisce about the moments that you remember and the things that stay with you. Share them with friends. It's the ability to see a part of somebody's life if you weren't there, and to see where they maybe gained some of their happiness, and it's just, I think it's important. We're living in a time where conversation and in-depth conversation and getting to know people are getting less and less and more of a surface thing. And dogs are easy to talk about, and we can learn a lot from somebody just by listening to them talk about their dog and things that they love, or dogs that they had in the past. I mean, shoot, we didn't even scratch the surface when it comes to special dog stories and stuff like that. But
there's plenty more to talk about in the future on that front.
Yeah, but next time you're at a park and you sit on a bench and you're with your dog, and somebody else sits next to you and they have a dog, strike up a conversation, say hi, and because I promise you both have something in common.
Yep, you're both dog owners.
Yep.
You have to have something in common, right? There's something there worth talking about.
Yep. When we were trying to come up with a name for our podcast, and I thought of Dogaholics, because sometimes you just can't get enough of dogs, and the good, the bad, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
It's all worth it. So
and all good topics for conversation starters.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk dogs. When it's something that you're passionate about and you love, it's easy to talk dogs.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I have two things.
Okay.
It's time for Kari's clips. Time for Kari's clips. Okay. The two of them are circle backs. They're both circle backs to prior things we've said. So this is funny. The second most likely thing, right, we said was tripping over your dog. The second most likely hazard was tripping over your dog.
Yeah.
I have a meme, and it says, "I would like to think that I'll die a heroic death, but it's more likely that I'll trip over my dog and choke on a spoonful of frosting." So that would be me. I will probably trip over my dog and choke on a spoonful of frosting or peanut butter. Oh my gosh.
Might as well be a spoonful of sugar, right? Spoonful of sugar.
No. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Frosting. Both. Maybe mix them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. The second is an actual clip, and this one is reminiscent of my Dasha. I'll show you in a minute. This lady's sitting on a chair with a computer on her lap. Just a little chair, right? Single living room chair. And this big dog comes up. She says, "Hello, Poppy," scratches the dog on the head. And Poppy starts climbing in her lap. You can't see her anymore. He's got both front paws up. The back leg is coming up, but the other back leg's still on the floor. Says, "No, Poppy, this isn't going to work. You're too big." And the dog's like, "No, I'm not." "No, Poppy, please, you're too big." Now the dog's full on standing on the lady, like standing in her lap. Poppy's going, "No, I'm not." And then the dog lays down across her computer and across her whole lap and says, "See?" Well, it's smiling at her. And so, I don't know if you can see it, because it's screen against screen and I'm shaking, but here it is. Anyway, Poppy. That was Dasha. 97-pound lap dog, beautiful Rottweiler. But oh my word. She was convinced she was small and she could just sit in anyone's lap. If you gave her an ounce of chance,
Yeah.
she was in your lap in 2.5 seconds because she loved cuddling.
Yeah.
She loved cuddling and she loved popcorn. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going that route again. All right.
I was gonna say Clarkson also does this. Our big bear dog. He does this poppy thing where he gets both legs up, right? And then he'll bring in one back leg and the other one's still on the ground and he's looking at you all up in your face like, excuse me, you wanna love me, right? And you're like, yes, Clarkson, sure. And then eventually he works his whole body up on you and you're like, oh my gosh, here's this enormous dog. What am I gonna do with you? And he's just completely content to take up your whole lap.
Yeah. And his elbows are shoving into your leg,
Oh,
giving you cramps.
word,
Charlie
this dog's
horses.
all elbows. He's the king when you're walking of shinning you with his elbows.
Yeah.
That hurts,
Yeah.
but we still love him.
Yeah. So that's going to be it for today.
Yep.
Thank you again for joining us while we get to talk
our-
about stories.
Unconventional podcasting
Yeah.
time.
So let us know in the comments about your special stories. You know, we love to hear other people talk about their dogs and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yep.
Thank you again for joining in. One thing that we haven't said before, I guess that we kind of might need to, the best way to support us in this is to subscribe to the channel
Yep.
and make comments, even if it's just to say hi. It helps with the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. But we want to make sure that we can keep this going, so we can give you guys the information to be able to have the best relationship that you can have with your dog and achieve the goals that you have with your dog.
Yep.
And
to support Supportaholics. Support other Dogaholics.
yeah.
Because we all are. Just support all the Dogaholic. I can't speak.
So
The Dogaholics.
So with that said, to all you Dogaholics out there, thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you next
All right.
time.